When I started teaching in 1997, I began my career at a secondary comprehensive in Purley, South London. And the school that I worked at had an excellent art department, music department, and drama department. And we all had large GCSE groups, and the young people at our school could take all three of those arts GCSEs, and many of them did. And whilst the exam results of our students were important to us, they were not what defined the quality of the education that we delivered. 27 years later, the educational landscape that I still work within looks very different. The curriculum that we now offer our young people has narrowed dramatically, and the pressure that both students and teachers feel from the exam system is toxic. There has been a 40% reduction in the number of young people taking arts GCSEs in the last few years. And the prevailing rhetoric around education is predicated on a misguided hierarchy of subjects that places maths and science and other so-called academic subjects above subjects like art, music, and drama. As well as this narrowing of curriculum, there has also been a lurch towards punitive and authoritarian pedagogies that are, according to their proponents, the best way to instill the knowledge-based curriculum that the Department for Education and Ofsted believe to be the pinnacle of educational progress. There has also been a crisis currently in attendance and behaviour. Attendance rates are plummeting, exclusion rates are soaring. And there has been much consternation about this, though this is normally framed in terms of lost attainment. And no one seems to be asking why this may be. Could it be that school does not nurture our young people's souls? It does not speak to their hearts. They see no relevance in the low-grade clerical work that makes up a great deal of what they are asked to do. And so we have a perfect storm. A curriculum bereft of agency and of creativity, an exam system obsessed with students being able to regurgitate arcane and often irrelevant information, and also schools that are hostile environments for the young people that work within them, where they have to walk around in silence in the corridors. They aren't allowed to form in groups of more than 3 in the playground. They are lined up before and after class, where they have to endure a diet of Gradgrind-esque instruction whilst being remonstrated to track the teacher with their eyes and to sit up straight and to tuck their shirt in and to make sure their tie is straight. Intelligence comes in many diverse forms. We think about the world in all the different ways that we experience it. We think visually, we think kinesthetically, we think in sound, we think in abstract terms, and yet the reforms of the education system, particularly in the last 10 to 15 years, utterly disregard this. And the consequence of this traditionalist educational dogma is that many brilliant, creative young people think that they're not, simply because the thing that they are good at is not valued at school, or worse still, is actually stigmatized. One of the criticisms levelled at the head teacher who tragically took her own life following her school being labelled as inadequate by Ofsted was the observation of one of the inspection team, who saw 2 Year 4 boys, that's 8 years old, doing the floss dance in the playground at break. And he said this was evidence of sexualized behavior. When a flower doesn't bloom, you fix the environment that the flower is growing in, not the flower. For far too long in the education system, we have been trying to fix flowers, not for a minute considering that perhaps the environment needs to change. Children are not computers to be filled with data. And so you may ask, what is the solution? Well, having been the founding principal of a school that specialised in performing arts and creative media production, I can think of hundreds, if not thousands, of young people who I've worked with directly, whose skills and knowledge and understanding were utterly ignored in the schools that they were in. And this alienation and frustration with a system that they saw no point in led them into challenging and difficult behaviours. It ruined their well-being. In some cases, it caused them mental health issues. They would come to me with folders this big, telling me about all of the things they couldn't do. And yet, When you put them in a dance studio, or a film production suite, or a music tech suite, suddenly that kid that was having to be restrained on a daily basis in his previous school was able to demonstrate professional level skills, often that they had taught themselves from YouTube. Sadly, that school no longer exists, which is why I am in the process of opening a non-fee paying independent school for 14 to 19-year-olds that will specialise in art, craft and design, dance, drama, digi-arts, film, music, voice. We have already enrolled our first student, who we have co-created a supported internship with, focused on her interests in Brazilian carnival culture, jewellery making and costume design. And we intend to open with our first cohort of Year 12 students in September. We will be a beacon of creativity. We will make learning fun again.